Talk about lead follow. So I have two big buckets of lead follow-up. We'll talk about both of them. Bucket number one is like someone that you meet, like maybe at an open house, maybe you get them as a referral, maybe you get an online lead randomly, and you need to actually set the appointment, like actually get that into a closing. The other lead follow-up is someone that's like, yeah, I know who you are, I trust you, you're my guy, and I want to work with you. And then they just kind of disappear somehow. And so we'll go over kind of both the game plans, but the whole goal here is we don't want anyone to fall through the cracks. So in real estate, we have like this funnel, right? Money falls out the bottom, leads flow in the top. The more leads you can get in, the more that you'll get down to the closing. Very simple, right? The problem is if we put cracks here in your funnel, then leads will fall out of your funnel and you'll have less closings. So we want to bridge or close all the cracks so that no one falls out. People are going to naturally fall out. That is just like a given. Like you're going to find someone and they're like 100% I'm in, I want to buy a house, let's do this. And then they just, I don't know, they die, they move out of state, they have a family emergency, they lose their job. Like there's all of these things that go wrong in the buying the home process or selling a home process, but you shouldn't be part of that friction that stops it. So we're going to talk about that today. So as we're talking about lead follow-up, a lot of people are like, let's automate the system. This seems like something that we should do. We should build out a lead follow-up system. So gosh, this was probably about a decade ago. I hired a company called Rockerbox. Their whole job was we would pass them leads we generated and they would follow up with them. And they were like the most consistent people I have ever seen at follow up. Like they had a game plan for every single person and they didn't drop the ball on anyone. As soon as someone said, I'm about ready to buy or I want to set an appointment, they would pass it back to our agents and the agents would set the appointment and go on it. And so they tracked all of their numbers. They found out that 74% of the appointments they set came from phone calls. Them actually picking up the phone, talking to a person, they were able to set it. 25% were text messages and 1% were email. Keller Williams has this awesome system built into Command that is called Smart Plans, where you push one button and it runs a smart plan, a series of emails or texts or tasks to call someone. And a lot of people in Keller Williams have built out tons of different of these, and you can actually share them with agents. And so you guys could go on right now and look up and see, okay, what are agents doing for like post open house follow-up? Like that's a plan. There's probably, I don't know, 100 of them. And you can see what are people doing. And you can just go and download their plans. The problem is most of their plans are emails, which is 1%, which is the worst place we could be. We want everyone, we should be talking in phone calls. Now, this was a decade ago, so maybe these chat stats have changed. I would imagine if these have changed, text messages have gone up, calls have gone down a little bit. Email, I would imagine, is the same. A decade ago, if you used email a lot, you're using it a lot now. If you didn't use it a lot a decade ago, you're not going to use it a lot now. So you're not going to go a whole lot. So phone calls are the power. So even if this went down by 25 and this went up by 25, you're still 50-50 with calls and text message. So as you're thinking of like, how do I follow up with these people? 100% it's going to be a phone call. So what's up, boys? Look at you planning black pants, white shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you set up
Dang
an
it.
email.
Dang it.
but-
Must not have been checking. Yeah.
No, that was
1% of people look at their set an appointment. So there's our problem. Should have been a phone call. I would have worn black and white. Dang it. Dang it. So as you're looking at like, okay, how do I follow up with people? Keep this in mind. Like The easiest thing to do is an email, right? We have the KW system I just mentioned. You push one button, it schedules out emails for months or years, but it's not very effective. You have phone calls that are very manual that seem to be very effective. And then you have something in the middle. Text messages are like that semi-automatic. You could have like a template that you paste in your text message and things like that. So remember that as we're following up this. So Keller Williams has a handful of models that we can just copy that are really awesome. And then there's a couple of other people that have done it. The three big ones are the 36 touch, the 8x8, and the 21 days of pain. Now there's a bunch of variations on this 21 days of pain. There's no, it used to be called the 10 days of pain, the 21 days of gain, or the 4 days of love. They're all kind of the same plan, just a variation of it, and they all work pretty well. So let's kind of talk about well, do I have these in slides? Yes. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. When you are building out your plan, consistency is key. I say this all the time. Real estate is not dating. You know, if you were like dating someone or wanting to date someone, and you looked at your text message threads with this person, and it was like text after text is just you sending that text, and they're never responding, how long do you follow up with that person before you're like, we're not going out ever? Like, you're maybe 4 texts in max, and then you're like, I'm out. Real estate's not dating. You can do that for 10 or 20 times, and then randomly they'll reach out and be like, can we see this house? It's like, it's on, we got a date. So it's the sum of the small efforts repeated over and over. So don't take offense if someone's not responding to you. They're like, they're ghosting me. It's like, well, maybe today. Maybe they're just busy. I ghosted Marcus for like how many days now? Yeah. So don't give up and don't feel bad when people are not responding. They want to. As soon as you like if you ran into one of these people that you've been texting a whole bunch, like randomly they came into one of your open houses, there would be that awkward moment. But the second that you call them out, like, hey, you haven't responded to me, they'd be like, I know, and they'd have some excuse like I'm busy, or we've really wanted to, or we're waiting for the right house, some reason that they're not responding to you. But they're never going to be like, you know what? It's your text messages, it's your calls, it's your emails, it's everything that you're doing. That's why I'm not responding to you. Because if they don't like you, they'll just tell you. They'll block you, they'll do something, and you'll start to realize like this person doesn't actually want me to reach out. But that's typically not the key, the case. Okay, so the 8x8. What this is so imagine that you meet a person. Let's call it an open house, a referral, or something like that. You meet with them and they say, let's do business together. The 8x8 is a way for you to like build up the relationship so they can get all of your marketing and feel very good. Trying to think of a good example of this in the wild. I got nothing. I got no good examples of this. But you know how like some companies send those consistent emails like every week, every other week kind of a thing. Like here's our latest deals and stuff. When you first sign up, there's usually some like onboarding type emails that they're sending you. Like, hey, thanks for signing up for our newsletter. Here's some extra little stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it's, I don't know, maybe a week, maybe a couple days, maybe a longer period of time. And then you're just on the normal stuff that everyone else gets. That is this. So the 8x8 is really easy. Every week for 8 weeks, I only put 4 here, but you just do a couple of easy tasks. I like to call or text every other week and then do some sort of email of value to them. Now, of value is very anything. Like you could do literally anything as long as it is valuable. So like you can just add value, give them some sort of information, give them some sort of resources, maybe just connect them with some of your other things that you're doing. Like, hey, as you're buying a house, I don't know if you knew, I have a YouTube channel. Come watch all of my YouTube videos. And like that could be something that is of value to them. Maybe it's not valuable to them. Maybe they would love it. Who knows? So it can just be little things like this. Now, these emails, I would plan those out, schedule them out. They're going to be the same email every single time. It should not be a thought in your mind, like, what should I email them next? This should be like in command, you can create your smart plan and say, I'm going to put someone on an 8x8. Boom. Click them on an 8x8, and then everyone gets that same kind of plan. Call, text, for 8 weeks, not just 4. After this, they should be like so ingrained of like, this is my real estate agent. Look at all this value and things that they've been sending me and giving me that they want to work with you. Or they already bought a house and you can pause them from this plan and move on to the next one. Hopefully I have the 36 touch. No. When's the 36 touch? So the 36 touch, this is, wait, have we had a class on this? I don't think we've had a class on this one yet this month. Maybe it's later this week. The 36 touch. Oh, this was Courtney's. Where were all of you for Courtney? Dang it.
I went to last month's one. I felt so bad too because I was like, oh, I'll just like focus on trying to like reach out to people, and then I saw her text a note me, and I was like, well, now I feel terrible.
So the 36 touch, which you missed probably the best class ever on Friday, is your yearly plan, 36 touches of value that you can give to everyone. So the flow is everyone starts with the 8x8 and then they move into the 36 touch. So you're almost cementing like, I'm a great real estate agent, work with me, and then never forget that I'm in real estate because you have that 36 touch. I bet if you go through your emails, like the promotions folder or the spam folder, you're going to have some consistent someone that has been emailing you every week, every other week, every third week from like big name companies. Like my wife gets Target emails. Like, I don't know why Target is sending her emails. She goes there constantly without them trying, but it's the kind of things that they do. Costco sends out like in the mail. If you're a Costco membership, they send a mailer out with all like the coupons and stuff like that. You don't need that, but you're now thinking Costco more than you're thinking Sam's Club, more than you're thinking Walmart, more than you're thinking of wherever else people overspend on groceries. So that's their 36 touch. Our 36 touch is we're going to call them, text them, email them, and have events. We're going to just be in front of them. So when someone thinks of real estate, they think of you. Like if I were to say, think of a brand of chips, okay? Everyone got a brand of chips in their mind? All right, we're thinking Doritos, Lay's, Kettle chips. Ooh,
Okay,
okay.
that's a good one though.
Okay, so besides Lay's and Doritos, we got Kettle chips. Anyone else? You thought of Sun Chips first? Oh, Sun Chips are delicious. So I can guess typically what people are thinking about with a brand of chips, and I just named Lay's and Doritos. And it's because they do something around all of this to be thought of first. By the way, Lay's owns Sun Chips and Doritos. I don't think they own the Kettle chips own that though. So so everyone thinks of Lay's and Doritos for some reason. Pringles, delicious. No one ever thinks of it. Sometimes Cheetos, people are like, oh, Cheetos, but they're like, wait, that's not a chip. I'm breaking the rules. Let's think of a chip. And then they think Lay's of Doritos. So that's the 36 touch. You want to be that Lay's or Doritos that everyone's thinking about when they think of real estate. That's what you're doing here. You're building a relationship and you're staying top of mind constantly. And so this is a forever plan. This 8x8, this is to build the relationship that gets them on this forever plan. And then the 21 days of pain is to get people people that you don't know. So this is really great for, I call it intense lead conversion. Like internet leads are great around this. Have you guys ever signed up for something on the internet and then regretted the second that you did it because you're like, oh no, now they're going to reach out to me a whole bunch. And someone reaches out to you once and you're like, well, I actually do care about this, but I just didn't want to answer my phone or that text message or that email, but like I care about this. Like I signed up for this for a reason. Give you a perfect example. QuickBooks. If you guys use QuickBooks, it is crazy expensive for some reason. I don't know why. So me and a couple of my partners together, we have 4 businesses. One of my partners has 4 other businesses, and then we each have a personal business that all run on QuickBooks. And so we are probably spending over $1,000 a month on QuickBooks with like 4 of us together. So I got this ad for QuickBooks Enterprise. I'm like, I wonder if we could spend less money and just lump all of these businesses together. That would be way cooler. So I filled out a form because I'm very interested. And they sent me an email and I'm like, dang it, why did I do that? I don't actually want to talk to anyone right now. I just want to know if this is a good thing or not. But if I happen to answer my phone for them, I would love to know this information. So they should put me on one of these 21 days of pain, 10 days of pain, 21 days of gain, 4 days of love, something, so that they can figure out if I'm a real person and if I actually care and qualify for their system. Because if I was looking to just do my business, which I have my S Corp that's set up for my real estate business, I have one business. If I signed up for that and they reached out to me and I'm like, tell me about QuickBooks Enterprises. And they're like, how many businesses do you have? And I'm like, one. They're like, this isn't for you. Like, I'm a waste of their time. But if I'm like, well, me and my partners have 12 businesses, then they're like, okay, you're our customer. So let's talk. So they should do some sort of like 21 touches in 21 days kind of a thing. Something super intense. You don't know how to meet me on what I like. Like ideally, you ask someone like, hey, how should I reach out to you? And if you say text message, then all you do is send them text messages till they respond to you. Someone says phone calls, you just call them until they respond to you. If they say email, you just email until they respond to you. They have no idea how they should meet with me, so they should do calls, texts, emails, whatever. Stalk my social media, be friends with me on stuff, those kind of things. So this is pretty intense. This is not what's going to happen with every single lead. I wanted to mention this. If you are trying to get online leads, this is the best system. If you are not doing this, what are the chances I have this? Nope. There is a system that's called the 4 days of love. What this is 4 days, very quickly, you're just going to try to add as much value to them as you can. There is a variation for internet leads where you just try to figure out if they're a real person. So you'd like call them and be like, hey, McKay, this is Cameron, and just cut it off. Just hang up right there. And then they'd be like, they know my name. They were going to say their name, and it just cut off like, I need to call this person back. And then you send them a text message and be like, McKay, I don't know what you would say, like, hey, when do you want to look at houses? That's probably a bad one. Like what you're trying to do is get them to respond. So like your email would be like, hey, I just saw this house and thought of you. And you do a link, but you like mess up the link so it's not actually going somewhere. So when they click at it, it's like, this is not our website. Like you messed it up. So then they reply back to the email like, hey, your link didn't work. And you're like, oh, you're a real person. I know it. But so the alternative to the 4 days of love is you just add extreme value to them 4 days really short after to be like, I'm awesome, like let's work together. This would work really well for like you meet someone in an open house and on later that day you text them and say, hey, it was really awesome to meet. I'd love to go look at other houses with you. Here's a link to my app so you can download it. Favorite any of them and we can go see them this week. And then that's like a value add. And then on Monday, you can call them and just say, hey, I just wanted to check in, give you an update. We didn't sell that house. If you're still thinking about that house that you saw in the open house, we can do that. Otherwise, are there any other houses that you might be interested in? Or like, and then you send an email of like a couple of different houses, like, hey, here's a few similar houses that I think are actually better priced than the one that you walked through. Do you like any of these better? We can go see them. Like something like that. Like you're just love bombing them, for lack of a better term, and just trying to add value. And then I would go from that to more like the 8x8 and spread it out and every week reach out to them. So like my actual flow that I would do with most leads that I meet is I would call it the 4 days of love. And so this would be like maybe a week of like high value touches. And when I say high value, I mean you actually looked at them and you are like sending them actual houses that they might be interested in based off of what they said. You're calling them, you're texting them. It might not be a whole template, maybe it's like half of a template, kind of an idea. Then that, if they don't start like looking at houses with you, then you'd move them to the 8x8. And every week you'd call them and email them something that they might think is valuable. By the way, the call and the email can be the exact same thing. So you might be like, hey, I have a YouTube channel. They should watch that. And then your email is all about the YouTube channel. And your call, if they talk to you, you're like, hey, just want to let you know I have a YouTube channel. I don't know, like, are you ready to buy a house? If not, like, watch this. Or I put a whole bunch of interesting things on my Instagram page. Like, we should follow each other. How do I find you? Is that a weird call to make? I'm calling you to tell you to find me on Instagram. Or hey, a lot of people have questions. I figured I'd just answer a few of these. I have like frequently asked questions about buying a home or something like that. And you can just start sending them random things. Then that would just move them into the 36 touch, which for me, that is, I'm going to send them houses to saved searches, is what they're called in Command. So that every 2 weeks, it will send them houses. So that's per month. That says month. M has too many bumps. A call per quarter. And then I'd invite them to any events that I'm doing. Which, by the way, we have a lot of events coming up. So if you're like, what should I be doing with events? In October, we're doing a first-time homebuyer seminar. In this room, we're going to get food and have like an hour of how to buy your first house. Or if you haven't bought a house in a while, how to do that. So that's coming up October 22nd. We have the pumpkin patch. When is that? In like 7 days? Is it tomorrow? It's tomorrow, the 23rd. So tomorrow, hopefully you're participating in it. I am not. My children all have sporting events. So I am not, as you can tell. And then in December, we're going to do photos with Santa on December 4th. So you can invite all your friends to come and we'll decorate this room somehow and just take some pictures with Santa. So they can take them on their phone or something like that. So, and then around the events, you're going to call them, you're going to text them, you're going to email them. So you'll get a whole bunch more than 36 touches out of the year. So got a lot coming up for that. This is oh yeah, question. I have a task to send out an email today about it, but it might not come today. Yeah, yeah. Real soon, I'm going to send like a whole game plan of everything about it. This kind of a game plan is what I run for leads that I have not met with. So if you go generate a lead anyway, like the open house is a great example. You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. They have no connection with you. They will probably go to another open house and meet another agent or talk to their friends who have another agent. So you need to do something so that they start to think of you as their agent. This is a whole game plan that we can kind of move them through. We're going to start intense and then we're going to get less and less intense over time. And it's going to become more and more automated, right? The 4 days of love, this is very manual and very personalized to them. The 8x8 is the same thing over and over, but there's a lot of calls involved in it. So you need to do that. The 36 touch, your emails are automated. You're already doing events and it's just masks out to them. And then you're only doing one call per quarter. So it doesn't end up being very many calls. So it goes hard to easy, and I would not skip the hard step. I only call it hard because it's just you have to actually do each of the tasks. This should convert the leads. This should find the leads that are just like kind of put you off. And then this is like those long-term leads that are like, you've been so awesome. I'll tell you a story. So this was probably 15 years ago before I was in real estate. Me and my wife wanted to buy a house. We went to a random open house and we met some agent. I don't even know his name. And I never give out my email because I'm that guy. Because I don't want your spam. And my wife has no opinions about that. So she gives her email to everyone. And so she wrote down her email and her phone number and is like, yeah, you can contact me. We're looking for a house. And so this agent set us up on a search that every Friday it just sent us houses that were on the market, similar to the house that we just walked through. You can do this on the MLS. You can do this on command. You can do this like 1,000 different ways. He just happened to do it from the MLS. And every Friday, it was this week's houses. I don't know why he chose Friday. If it were me, I would not do that Friday. He was probably thinking, well, then people will want to go see houses over the weekend. That's probably what he was thinking. But I want to like do like Thursday because most listings go live like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of an idea. So anyway, but he sent them every Friday. He had been doing this for, I don't know, a year because he set up on the MLS, he set up the search and hit save, and it sends out an email every single month or every single week. My wife, so we stopped, we weren't going to buy a house anymore. We're like, we don't actually have money. What are we doing trying to buy a house? No one will give us a loan. And then I got a real job and we started to have more money. And I'm like, we should buy a house now. She's like, we should. Let's call this guy. And I was like, who's that guy? It's like, oh, we met him at an open house a year ago. He's been sending me houses for a full year. We should call him because of all of this work that he's been doing. I was like, no, that he set us up on an automated email and it's just been sending you every month. But she thought, oh my gosh, look at all of this value that he's been adding to me. Like she felt obligated to reach out to him. And I'm like, no, let's not do this. So if you kind of go through this kind of a process, you will start to add so much value to people that they're just going to be like, you're my agent. Like I might not even know you, but you're my agent. And the more that you can connect with them, even on a personal level, the better off you're going to be. People like to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And so this is going to help them trust you a little bit, but to know you and like you, that's where you have to have some rapport. So this is where the phone calls come in. Because you're going to start to build a relationship. If you can follow each other on social media and they can see you're a real person, like that's going to be great as well. Like those kind of things. Like, do you ever like feel like you're friends with people that you're definitely not friends with just because you follow them on social media? That's how you want to be, that people think you're friends. Like you don't need to be an influencer, but you can be influential to people just by you're already doing this plan, might as well enhance it. So to do this, wait, I forget all my slides. Okay. So the very best agents, they don't run their business in their brains. They have a system of tasks. There's two big types of systems that you can run with lead follow-up. There are to-do lists, and then there are tagging systems. The to-do list is probably exactly what you're thinking. You have a lead, and you just assign them a to-do. I'm going to follow up with this person on Wednesday. Boom, they have a to-do in your phone, in your CRM, in your something. And then every single person has a to-do, and it seems to work great if you do the to-dos and you don't go out of town. If you go out of town and like, I just went to Mexico. I did not get tan like I was hoping, but I did get fat. Gained 5 pounds on my vacation. So yeah, as a good all-inclusive. So anyway, I went on vacation. I left on Wednesday pretty early, so I did not do anything on Wednesday, and nothing on Thursday, nothing on Friday. If I had tasks for those 3 days, I'd be coming back on Monday, and now I have Monday's tasks. let's be honest, I probably wouldn't have done Tuesday's tasks because I was like, I need to get everything ready because I'm leaving. And so now I have 5 days of tasks starting today. What are the chances that I do 5 days of tasks within a day? There is a 0% chance of me doing that. So then what happens on Tuesday? I might have 4 days of tasks. Maybe I was good with that. I might have 6 days of tasks because now I'm like, I got too much to do. And then all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed. I become like my children do when I'm like, go clean the playroom. And they look at the playroom and there's just toys across the whole entire floor. And they're like, nope, there's nothing I can do about this. But if I like make them little piles and I'm like, hey, you clean up this pile, all of a sudden like our playroom's clean in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, see, you just break it down into smaller tasks. Same kind of concept. If you have tasks, you're already making sure that no leads slip through the cracks. You're not relying just on memory. So you're solving some of your problems. The problem is if you don't do all your tasks, you're going to get behind. If you get behind, it's going to be so overwhelming that you're just going to delete all of those tasks and start fresh, which is the best thing to do. But then at some point, you're going to have to do it again. I'm a fan of the tagging system. So what we're going to do is we're going to tag every single lead. You can do this however you want. These are just my tags that I use. And then that's all you have to follow up on. So I tag them hot. Some people tag this now or 1 to 3 months. This is the business that you should focus on. This is like, if I were to say, who's the next person that you're going to put under contract? They're going to be one of these hot people. They don't have to be good looking to be hot. Important thing to know there. Nurture. These are the next people. They're probably like 2 to 3 months out. They're the kind of people like I got a referral from someone that just moved back to Utah the other day. I used to work with him forever ago, and his kids are living in the basement and they need to buy a house, kind of a thing. And he's like, you should work with them. I was like, I should. And they're like, we just need to save more of a down payment. We don't quite have 3.5% down for an FHA loan, so we need to save. So there, right now, are tagged nurture. I need to follow up with them, but definitely not as much as a hot person. Watch. These are the people that are like, yeah, I'm going to move out, but like right now they might say, oh, in the springtime, I'm going to move. They're like 3 to 6 months out. Long term, these are people that say, I want to buy or sell, but they are way further than that. They might not even have a real timeline, but they're like, I want to do this. And then archive, these are the people that I gave up on, but I don't want to like forget that I gave up on them, kind of a thing. Because one day you're going to be like, man, I don't have any leads. And then there's two things that you can do. You can either go generate new leads, like let's go cold call, let's go door knock, let's go do open houses, let's call some FSBOs and expireds, and all of those are great, and you should constantly do all of those. But if you have done all of those for a decade, you probably have a whole bunch of people already here. Why don't you just talk to all the people that you know? For example, the Red Sign team, I think they have 30,000 leads that they have generated that are in their system, in their database. So every time someone on their team does an open house and spends 2 hours sitting in an open house, I'm like, what if you just went through some of your old leads, called them? Hey, you registered on our website 5 years ago. Have you bought a house? Are you interested in buying a house? Where are you at? Cool, thanks, bye. Like, it's a lot softer call, but they're there. So archive the leads. That's just like, we'll see. So what I do is each of the categories, these tags, have standards to them. So for example, my hot leads, I call them every single week. I don't know what this twice weekly text is. That's not real. That's not real. AI made that part up. It's hallucinated. So if you're a hot lead, I need to call you every single week. If I get to Friday and I have not called a hot lead, I've messed up and I need to reach out. And it just could be as easy as, hey, I'm just checking in. See any houses you want to see? Or are you ready to list your house? Those kind of things. I always start with my hot leads over everyone else because they are my closest source to business. Then we have the nurture leads. I call these people every single month. Biweekly value emails, they're already getting that from my 36 touch. So again, made up. But I know that I need to call them every month. So there's a saying in real estate, the buyers are liars and sellers are too. That how it works is if you ask someone, when do you want to buy a house? You know what they're going to say? The time that they are not going to buy a house. But you don't know if they're going to buy a house sooner or later, or maybe they're going to be real close to what they said, but probably not. Most people will say, I want, like my cousin last year, she's like, we want to buy a house. We're out looking at houses. We made an offer. The people are like, we love your offer. We need to just tweak this one thing and then we're good to go under contract. They sent us a counter offer and my cousin was like, oh no, this has got real. Like, we're not doing this. We're out. And I'm like, but this is a house that you wanted and a price that you wanted. Like, everything is great here. An area you want, like, what's wrong with this? And they're like, I don't know. They're like, we just need to wait till like December. Like, they're gonna her husband was gonna get a promotion. Like, it was already like in writing that he was gonna have a promotion in December, and we were like August. So she's like, we just need to wait. That will give us more money, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool. Do you know when they bought a house? So we're in August. December, he was gonna get the promotion. Guess when they bought a house? September. They bailed. I sent a text. Hey, I saw this house. I thought of you. I'm not sure why. I don't even like this house, but it made me think of you guys. By the way, it was a house that they had looked at on command. I saw that they were looking at it, and I copied and pasted the address to them. Hey, I saw this house. Thought of you guys. The carpet was like blue and ugly, and I was like, I don't even like the carpet, but I thought of the house. I saw the house and thought of you guys. I'm like, oh, that's funny. We saw that house. We actually want to go see this other house and there's one down the street that's this. Can we go see those? Yeah. And they bought one. I'm like, if I would have believed you and said December, I probably would have been calling them like October, November. They maybe would have already found the house and bought it. So whatever someone says, they're lying to you. And it's not because they're lying because they want to lie to you. They are lying to themselves. Something is going to change. There's too many variables between now and the future date that they actually want to buy a house to decide that that's when they're actually going to buy a house. Buying a house is very emotional. There's not a lot of logic, but they walk through the logic like, oh, well, our lease is up in 6 months, so let's just buy then. Well, you know what? You're going to find a house that you like before then or after then, and you're going to have to adapt as you go. So with nurture leads, when they're like, yeah, we're like 3 to 6 months out, it's like, great. I'm going to talk to you every single month because your plans are going to change. Every month might even be not enough. This might need to be like every 2 to 3 weeks would be ideal for someone like this. Then long term, this might be more of this watch that's out 3 to 6 months. Those people, that's what I would for sure every month they should get a call. So how I do it is every week, every other week, every month, and then the long term, these can just be quarterly, just like everyone else. So that's how I do it. And then archive is when I'm like, I have no people, I'm going to call you. And it is random, and hopefully it works. Then all you have to do is live this standard, and no one will ever fall through the cracks, which is the challenge of everything. Consistency makes the extraordinary look effortless. You want to look like you are extraordinary. There are a lot of agents. Look at you, 5. 5, okay. For some reason I counted wrong in my mind. So if you all ran into the same person at an open house, let's say everyone does an open house kind of near each other, and the same person ends up walking in and meets all of you 5 people the same weekend. How do they decide who they're going to choose? Especially if they're not in like right now, like they're like, we're going to buy a house. And then they talk to a lender and they're like, just kidding, we're going to buy a house in 6 months. And then you have all of you here have their information and you need to talk to them consistently to follow up to whatever, like, who's going to look extraordinary because of their follow-up that they did and the things that they have helped them with as they wait until they qualify. Like that's who you want to be so that you can just look extraordinary. And it's consistency. So it makes it effortless. So now, is anyone worried about like, oh, I need to call these people all the time? Does that come into your mind? Okay, thanks for being honest. Some of us calls are normal, right? Remember calling people back in high school? My girlfriend, I used to like hide in my closet on the phone. Mom, get off the phone. We did. So that's I could hide. But yeah, the really long cord, those were my favorite. It was always in the kitchen. It was like super long, so you could kind of walk. Anyway, so there's this framework, Phil M. Jones. I have a man crush on him, by the way. If you guys want to read like one of the best things, watch all of his stuff. You 100% should. He wrote the book Exactly What to Say. And there's a version, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Spoiler alert, they're the exact same book. Don't buy both of them. The only difference is in Exactly What to Say, he uses examples of other businesses. And Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, all of the examples are of real estate agents. So if you were going to buy one, the real estate one's probably better because then you don't have to be like, how would I use this in real estate? He has this framework, OFQ is what he calls it. So it's an opening statement, a fact, and then an easy to answer question. This works with every single person ever. This is not just lead. Opening statement. It can be as boring as, hey, I'm Cameron from Keller Williams. That is an opening statement. Then you throw out some fact. This should not be an interesting fact, like honey never goes bad kind of a fact. Like, it's an interesting fact though, right? Yeah, yeah. Most of them is something like, we met last week at the open house. We have a mutual friend, Jeff. Something like that. And then an easy to answer question. Did you visit any other open houses? Are you still browsing for homes? Do you like our friend Jeff? Just kidding. This tells them who you are and why you're actually even talking, right? Hey, I'm Cameron from Keller Williams. Like, okay, now I know who I'm talking to. Then why, like, why are you reaching out? Like, we met last week at the open house. People actually like this part because have you ever like met someone and then forget who they are? I'm like, oh shoot, I met you at a thing. uh, but this just cuts through that. You don't have to like surprise people. I've had some people come up to me and remember some very detailed facts about me because when I'm up here, I just spew whatever comes to my mind. And they remember those things. And then when I meet them again, they remember these crazy things about my life. And I'm like, okay, we definitely met because I don't post on social media. And so you know me from somewhere, but I don't know where. This just cuts right through that. We met last week at the open house. By the way, you can use this for a long time. So like as you get through this 4 days of love, that might be like, hey, we met on Saturday at the open house. Then in the 8x8, we met last month at the open house. Hey, I've called you like 8 times now and we met an open house. Like they can be those, like you're just reminding them, hey, I'm that real estate agent that keeps reaching out to you. Those kind of things. Then a really easy to answer question. It doesn't matter if they're yes or no or whatever. You just want to know you're starting the dialogue, right? Did you visit any other open houses on Saturday? Yes or no? Like that's real easy. No, I didn't. Cool. Or, hey, what did you think of that house, the open house that you walked through? Like, oh wait, we walked through a couple. Oh, cool. I don't even really care because we're just talking about houses. Like we're in it. And then from there, it just be a human, right? Have a conversation with them, ask them questions. Your whole goal is to move them along the sales cycle. So they go from lead to actual client by going to an appointment. So like that's the ultimate goal is like, hey, let's go see houses. Let's meet in my office. Let's get you pre-approved. Those kind of things is how we want to move them forward. With this, it just starts to help you build trust really easy, and people actually enjoy this. If you want to actually build a relationship, there's a whole nother conversation framework that's called Ford. You probably all should know this by now, because we talked about a whole bunch. What it is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You'll notice all small talk kind of forms along this, except for the dreams. That's typically not a small talk thing. So it's family, like, hey, how are the kids enjoying the school year? What grades are your kids? How old are your kids now? How's work? What projects are keeping you busy at work? That's what AI thinks. Occupation. That's what we would ask each other. Where are you working nowadays? Is like, hey, how are the tariffs affecting your job? Like anything, like doesn't even matter. Recreation. Hey, you do anything fun lately? You have any fun trips planned? You can combine some of these. Like, are you and your kids going anywhere? Is it fun to watch your kids' sports? I don't know. I don't know. These are really these three are really easy. This dreams is where it gets a little bit harder, but we have a leg up because we're talking real estate. So your dreams could just be about real estate. Do you have any plans to buy a home? If you were to buy a home, where would you go? What's next on your bucket list? That's what AI thinks that you should ask. If you can ask about the dreams, which is the most awkward because we typically don't small talk about dreams, then life becomes easy with every single follow-up call. For example, if you did say, what's next on your bucket list to someone, and they said, I want to run a marathon, you can now follow up with that person about running a marathon. That's so cool. I would love for you to run a marathon. I'm not there with you, but yeah, you do you, man. When are you going to run your marathon? And if they say, oh, in the spring, I'm going to start training and then I'm going to go run it in the spring. Like, okay, which one did you sign up for? Like, I didn't sign up for one. All right. Well, good luck, man. And then in 3 months, when you're calling them again because everyone's on this quarterly 36 touch call plan, and you're like, hey, man, it's December. How's your training for your marathon going? Did you sign up for one? Like, no, I didn't. It's like, hey, well, this is on your bucket list. Like, go sign up. And then when you see a random article that's like, runners are more successful in life than every other person in the world, you send it to them, be like, good thing you're a runner now. And whatever. You can send them a book or a training program or, hey, I just heard of this other person that ran a marathon and here's all their tips and tricks. Like, it gives you a reason to reach out to them. Bonus points if this is a house because you're already doing everything about houses. Like, I want to buy a house. Let's do that. I love that for you. Let's go buy a house. Let me help you. Start asking them questions, be involved, and help them out, right? Just the same as you would for them wanting to run a marathon because they're your good friend, but now you just happen to get paid for it, right? It's like if you train people for a marathon and someone's like, I want to run a marathon, you're like, bonus. Like, literally, that's how I make my money. As you can tell, so do I. Okay. So, it's your turn. I have 2 homework items for you, and then we can practice. Do I have 2? Maybe I only have 1. So I want you to figure out in Command, how are you going to organize your life? So this is 2 things. This is tags, and you can steal my same ones, and this is campaigns. So who are you going to tag? and this has standards. So what does that mean? And then campaigns are what are you going to send those people? Like, what's your process for them? When someone says, I'd love to move into my house in 3 months. By the way, no one says things like that. They say things like, I'd love to have a house in 3 months, or we're going to buy a house in 3 months. But that means different things. My first question when people always say that is like, wait, do you want to be in the house in 3 months, or are you starting the process in 3 months? Because typically from when people start the process to when they end up buying a house, it's like 10 weeks. So if you're like, I'm going to start the process in 3 months, then we're out a little bit further. When they're like, no, I need to be in my house in 3 months, it's like, well, let's start now. Let's get you pre-approved. Let's go see some houses. Let's make an offer. What if you're in your house in 2 months? Is that going to be a problem? What if it's 1 month? What if it's in 4 months? And you just start learning and finding. So figure out, how are you going to tag people? Are you going to use my hot nurture watch kind of system, which by the way, I stole from a company called Boomtown. They were my CRM for like 8 years. And that's exactly how they labeled them. We had no options to do anything different. So I just learned it, and that's what I do now. In Command, you can name them however you want, because hot might not be your thing. Maybe you're going to say they're now business. Maybe they're 1 month business. Maybe whatever. And then what are your standards? How often are you going to reach out to them is really the big thing. You should print this out and put it somewhere in front of your face. And then Command has this cool thing where you can set up filters. I go write down all of my words that I want to. So it says priorities. Can you not tell that that scribble is priorities? The last three letters are all one letter. It's Cameron cursive. So with filters, you can set up in Command on who you want to see. So for example, you could have it filter and show hot leads that have not been contacted in more than 1 week. So then we could just click on that and it would show all these people that we need to call. And if it says 0, then we're good. We've done that. So where the priorities come in is how I even name mine is it's like 1-hot, 2-nurture, 3-watch. Maybe we're gonna say 4-SOI, like the sphere of influence. It's 90-day plus without a call. You can do this however you want, set up all of these filters, and then I have them in priority. So then when I come in the morning, I just click on hots, boom. Do I have anyone to call? Nope, I've called everyone. Okay, number 2, nurtures. Who have I not called in my standard that I have set up? No one, great. I'm on my watches, then I'm on my sphere of influence, and I just go through and I just do all of this. I probably have 7 or 8 of these filters that I go through, and most of them are blank, to be honest. Like I have actually my number 1 is called new leads. So this is leads that I have never called in my life. And I don't get a lot of leads just randomly subscribing to me. Like they don't just like go to my website. But if I ever get a lead that I have never called, then I know that something's wrong. Someone gives you a referral, you put them in Command, and then you do nothing with them, like you've messed up. So I have nobody in this, but it is one of my categories, so I can live my standards. So I go there, I go hots, nurtures. I actually do my sphere of influence before my watch. So it's just whatever your priorities are and how you want to run your business. But then your day doesn't become a, who should I call today kind of an idea. It becomes a very simple, like, I need to focus on my hots, then my nurtures, then my sphere, then my nurtures, then the very last one. Maybe you have 8 of them. That doesn't say infinity, that's an 8. I'm just crooked. This is archive. So this is like If I still have time in my lead generation day and I get all the way down to 8 and I'm like, oh, I've called every other person. Now I'm going to jump into my archive list of all of the people that I did reach out to at some point, and I just sort this by who the longest person. Like I haven't called this person in the longest time, and then I just start there and I just start calling them down. And then if they're like, I hate you, stop calling me, then I just delete them out of the archive list or trash them or something like that. And that's kind of my game plan. So I want you to have a plan for your tags, which means your standards that you're going to have. I want you to create your priorities, so the filters that you're going to use. And then I want you to start to think, what's the process that I'm going to take every single person through? So once I get a lead, what are they going to do? And to be honest, you might have one here. So Boomtowns calls it qualify. So I don't know a better word for this. These are people you have not yet qualified. You don't know where they're at. Like you meet them at an open house and they don't say when they're buying, when they're selling, anything like that. So you like have contact information, but I don't know, have they talked to a lender? Have they been pre-approved? Have they met with any other real estate agents? Are they actually even ready to buy or sell? What's their time frame? Because how do I fit them into one of these categories? Or maybe you decide instead of qualify, this is where you're going to run your 4 days of love or your 10 days of pain or 21 days of gain or whatever your game plan is going to be as you try to get them there. And when then they don't answer you, where are you going next? The secret is no one should be homeless, right? We're in real estate, so everyone needs a house to live in. That house might be that they're a new lead. That house might be that you need to qualify them to figure out where they are, or it might be one of these other buckets of people, right? Everyone needs a house. If they're just floating in your CRM, you're going to forget about them and you're going to lose them. And you're going to like be scrolling through one day and it will be like, who is that person? And you'll click on them and you'll be like, I added them to my database 1 year ago. I have no other information. And then it's like, how you can't even do Phil Jones fact. The fact is you are in my database and I don't know who you are. Like that's not a good fact to open up with someone, but if you can at least have a little bit of notes and information. So I'd start with tags. What are your tags and standards? Then what are your priorities that you're going to run through? And then how are you going to do all of those? So that's your homework. And then I want to actually have you guys practice some of these things, some of these conversations. So what should our scenario be? What did I put up there? The fact, opening fact question, trying to set the appointment or move into the Ford framework. Okay, here's a scenario. So everyone partner up. You can do groups or whatever. I'm actually going to leave you so you're not embarrassed and you're not feeling judged. Practice like what you would do in a handful of these scenarios. So like you just met at an open house and you're trying to get a hold of them again to figure out if you can set an appointment. And you're just a few days later, like practice that scenario. Then practice the like, we met a month ago in an open house and I've reached out to you multiple times and you haven't talked to me and you're finally talking to me kind of a scenario. You can pre-select the scenario beforehand, whatever, but I want you guys to practice this because this will be real. So you're going to run an open house at some point, and then you're going to collect a handful of leads and you're going to spend time with them the first week, and then a bunch of them won't go anywhere. And then you're going to be like, should I do another open house? It's like, another open house is going to be 2 hours of you sitting in an open house. You could also call those people that you're waiting for while you're just sitting in an open house. Like if that was your only lead generation time, is why you sat in an open house waiting for more people to come, you could probably get through a lot of these calls. But then pretty soon it's going to be like, hey, we met in an open house 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. But if you can get to them sooner, it's going to be better off. Okay, questions on the activity? Okay, find some friends, throw out the scenario, and go. Oh, wait, I have more quotes for you before we go. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. I have a conversation often with people that they're like, this is really hard to figure out. And I was like, good, that's the best thing for you. Because if it was easy to figure out, everyone else would be doing it. But because it's a little bit hard, there's a moat and you have to get over that. And then once you get over the moat, you get to look back at all the people that are looking at the moat like, how the freak do I get over this? And you don't have to tell them. So get better there. So choose your system, find your tags, create your self accountability. Do you want to be on this? No, I'm turning this all off. Okay, good work. Wait, questions before I end this recording? That one says archive. Infinity.
Yeah, maybe the question, how long you spent working on your person of interest, just like, this, like texting, calling people, how much in your like everyday do you do? Or that you recommend?
Gary Keller says you should spend 3 hours of lead generation. Now, when he defines lead generation, it's getting new leads and following up with old leads. Typically, I would do like 50% of the time generating, 50% of the time following up. Now, if you have no leads to follow up with, then it should be 3 hours of lead generation where you're generating more leads, calling your sphere, talking to people, like whatever you can do. But as you start to get more leads, you need to figure out like a balance because you want to constantly be adding people to the pipeline and you want to make sure that people are moving through the pipeline. So yeah, Gary Keller's answer is 3 hours. And he always says that that's 9 to noon, which, by the way, is why we do these in the morning, because the idea is you guys get used to coming into the office and doing stuff for a couple hours. And then hopefully that translates into, well, I'm just so used to coming to the office that maybe I'll just come to the office and do real work instead of education work. So, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Like on the, I'm not most tech savvy, but I read all the messages
WhatsApp.
on WhatsApp. For somebody like me, who's new, do you recommend doing as many open houses?
Yes. Yes. I love open houses. That's one of my favorite lead generation systems. Not for the open house. That's my least favorite part is the actual holding the house open. Because it's a gamble. And I don't know the variables that make it better. I do know condos are worse than townhomes, and townhomes are worse than single family homes. Past that, I know nothing. I have seen open houses crush it when it's their first week on the market. I have seen them crush it when they've been on the market for 6 weeks. I've seen overpriced homes do really well in open houses, and I've seen underpriced homes do really well in open houses. So I don't know. I have a hard time with the correlation there. Ideally, it's a new listing that's priced well, because with those people, you can get it's the fresh, so you can get all the neighbors. And if it's priced well, anyone that's looking online that wants to go see it will come into it. Past that, most of open houses traffic is actually driven by signs. And so that's why price doesn't matter and time on the market doesn't matter, because you throw out signs and you're driving by and you're like, ooh, open house, let's turn. There's this one street on the way to my house that every Saturday there's open house signs there. And they're always different open house signs. So I'm like, oh, this is just a different open house, because there's multiple houses for sale down that street. And so even if you are like 6 weeks in and you throw an open house there, like, no, I wouldn't know that. I would, because I look at my neighborhood like a crazy person, but people aren't me. And so But why I really like open houses is it gives you an excuse to do the rest of the marketing. It's really easy to door knock on the neighbors' houses, say, I'm doing an open house, like you should come by. Who else do you know that should be moving into your neighborhood? Do you like your neighborhood? Do you want to get out of here? I'll sell your house next. And or what should I be telling people when they ask me questions about the neighborhood? Like you can just have these conversations because people's guards are just down when you're like just inviting them to an open house. So it makes door knocking very easy. Same thing if you decide to get phone numbers from like the title company, you can do that and call around the neighborhood. You can do that same thing. You can post on your social media and people will be like, oh, look, they're like actually doing real estate. Like, that's cool. They're a real estate agent and they'll remember you. Oh, I erased it. 36 touch kind of thing. Lay's, Doritos type of an idea. You get to call any of the leads that you have or any sphere that you have that live in the area. They're like, hey, I'm actually doing an open house sort of near you. You should come check it out. Come visit me. And then when you're in an open house, if no one shows up for 2 hours, you have 2 hours that you're thinking, how can I do this better? And you're just constantly trying to improve. Plus you have all of your other leads that you could be texting, calling, or all of that. So it's like forcing you to work. I mean, I guess you could just sit there and shop on Amazon, scroll through Instagram, but if you're working, might as well work. So that's why I really like open houses. And then you get the gamble of people just walking through that are like, I like it. I think I'll buy it. Like that happens every once in a while. 4% of the time, actually.
For that,
Showings are probably just good for you to learn. If you're going to practice, might as well practice on a random agent's stuff. But it's hard to be bad at a showing. I guess I can think of a lot of ways you could be bad at a showing. Just walking there and be like, ugh. Like that's being bad at a showing. But if someone's like, yeah, I need a showing, like might as well, especially if they're paying money, like get a little bit of money, get a little bit of experience. So then when you have your clients, you just like you open the lockbox like a pro, things like that. By the way, if lockboxes don't open, you want to know the secret? Try opening a door. Because you're just trying to get in the house. You have an appointment scheduled. And so all the time people call me and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't get in the lockbox. I'm like, can you break into the house?
There wasn't a lockbox anywhere. The agent wasn't answering, so I just opened the door.
Yeah,
There's a knock, so. Alright.
yeah. I'll like knock on the door, ring the doorbell. Like whatever you can do, just open the door. Go around to the side door, go to the back door. People leave their houses unlocked all the time. Gotta love Utah.
Lockbox thing. First, go to the lockbox and then connection.
I always go to the lockbox first. Yeah. Even if like if there's like an agent that's showing the house and like you pull up and you see them leaving and there's like the lockbox, or even better, if you show the house and then you're leaving and another agent shows up, be like, hey, sorry, this is weird, but I'm gonna close this lockbox with the key in it. And you close it up because every time the lockbox is opened, it notifies the agent who opened that lockbox. So if something goes wrong, you want to have like your name like stricken from the record kind of an idea. Like, oh no, like I closed this lockbox and then someone else opened it and then something went wrong so that you're not in trouble. So yeah, there's been some weird times where I've literally been like swapping keys with the other agent as I'm like locking the box and having him unlock it and things like that. And it's always this awkward exchange. Like we both know what we're doing, but it feels weird. Like, hey man, like I'm gonna lock this up so that you can unlock it. Are you cool with that? And you just don't want to assume that they're an agent if they like come walking up and they're like, we're here to see the house. And you're like, oh, cool. You must be the next showing. Here's all of the stuff. And it's just like a random person there to rob the house. I mean, that would be awful. So yeah, I always lock box and then try to open the door, then unlock it kind of thing. Okay, let's get into some practice. Throw out your scenario to your partner or partners. You guys can all group up however you want to do it and practice some of these calls. How would you follow up? Do that opening fact question, kind of an idea for the scenario, and then roll into like the forward conversation. So, okay, thanks, guys.